Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Wraith, and today I'm going to be discussing the latest supplement for Middle-earth strategy battle game, Quest of the Ringbearer. And I'm here joined with the Ranger. Awesome name.
Hello, the Ranger.
But yeah, you just said it was one of your favourite supplements that have come out.
Definitely, it's definitely one of my favorites. As a narrative player in a competitive environment, it's nice to see that that they released a something like this, and it has some competitive sides to it. And I'm glad that they at least took some time to appreciate the players who wanted this kind of stuff. But they also have a very nice narrative selection, which is pretty cool as well.
Oh, yeah, I love it when they meld the two together. So you've got the narrative and the competitive side of it, and they're bringing it in through the rules. So it's really cool. It's really cool. But yeah, have you tried any of the Legendary Legions yet? Because I mean, I've only tried the Black Riders, but none of the others yet.
Well, the fact of the matter is, the only Legendary Legion I've ever used, actually, the 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 Grey Company,
Oh yeah,
because I went to test out the Rangers. But I guess my name speaks for it all. You know,
that's right. The Rangers are cool. I'm really happy that someone uses them because it's a cool one that not many people use.
I mean, it get free magic sword, 2 elves, and a dwarf and an elf.
You get the banner of awesomeness.
Oh yeah, well, you can get them in the normal Rangers, of course, too. But
But
you know, free sword. That's the gold ticket right there.
yeah, get an Andril for free. That's 40-point upgrade just for free. Crazy. Oops. But yeah. So jumping straight in, do you want to talk about some of the Legendary Legions?
Sure. We could just do it chapter by chapter and go with that. It could take a little while, but it'd be more organized.
Yeah, well, yeah, we can start on the first Legendary Legion.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy day. So we've got
Break out of the Fellowship.
Breaking of the Fellowship. So after poor old Gandalf, Big G himself, fell in Moria, you've got all these guys, because obviously you can't bring Gandalf in this because he's not about. He's busy fighting a Balrog, or beating up a Balrog. I'll quickly go over it. So obviously you've got Strider, 160 points. Good old Legolas for 100. Gimli, son of Gloin, 100 points. Boromir, 95. You can give him the shield for 5 points. Frodo Baggins with Mithril Coat and Sting, so he comes with them already for 80. Samwise Gamgee, 40. Merry, 10. And Pippin, 10. That's the army composition. Pretty handy. The only downside with that I can already see is Strider doesn't come with Andril, because he hasn't got it in the film, has he? Which is fine. But yeah, that's going to hurt it. You have to always have Aragorn Strider, and he's the leader. And you're always deployed as a single warband, as Aragorn as a captain, and you all get Elven Cloaks for free. Nice and simple. Now, Gifts of Gladriel. This is my favourite part, talking about mixing things together. So you've got the kind of like fluffy side of it mixed in with rules. You got Frodo, Light of Erendel. So each time he may use a single free will point to attempt to cast the magical power, Blinding Light. Excuse me. And it's cost on a 3+ and cannot be channeled. And Frodo cannot use this if he's wearing the ring. That's massive. That's really good. Sam, Elven Rope. Sam always counts as rolling a 6 for any climb, jump, or leap tests he has to make. That's okay. And Merry and Pippin, they get the special magic daggers. They get to reroll all failed rune rolls in combat. That's actually really solid. Aragorn gets his, Uruk-hai Bane dagger. It's an elven made dagger as well, so even better. Legolas, he's got the Bow of Galadrim. whilst within 3 inches of a friendly model, he may re-roll any failed hit rolls when shooting. Because my Legolas, I don't know about you, Ranger, but every time I use Legolas, uses super shot, he rolls a 1. So having that re-roll is a nice bit of security there. Gimli, he's got Galadriel's locks. He may re-roll all dice in a dual roll. He can use this 3 times per game. All dice in a so he's got a super banner for himself only. Boromir's got golden belt that gives him.
Nobody cares about the golden belt.
So
the golden
bad.
Belt is like, they found it like, I don't know, under a table, and it's like, all right, here you go, Boromir. You're gonna die in like, a day anyway.
Yeah, there you go. You get woodland creature, so you definitely can't run away from Uruk-hai. I was disappointed, but he's got 6 might, so he don't care. Blessing of Galadriel. So everyone's always got the fortify spirit magical power cast upon them. This is always in effect, even if they have no will. And Bonds of the Fellowship. They count as being in range of a banner if there's a never friendly model within 3 inches. That's so strong, like insanely strong. And you have my sword as long as Frodo is alive on the table or escapes the board in scenarios where this applies. All models gain the Fearless special rule. Additionally, they will never be counted as broken whilst Frodo is alive and on the table, or escapes the board in scenarios where it apply. Yeah, that's pretty much summed up the Legendary Legion. I think it's really strong.
Well, unfortunately, there's only one problem.
You've got 6 models? Not even.
Well, no, that's not. Well, that's a problem itself. But the bigger problem is the fact that it is 600 points for the entire forest.
Yeah, you're not.
So you can't really.
I've done a couple of 500 point tournaments, and I've done 2 600, but it usually is either 500 or jumps to 650 and then jumps up to 800 and then 1,000. I've never really gone to a bang on 600. There's only 2 I've ever been to that's 600 points.
We Americans really like big points, so we, in 40K we do 2,000. We never go below 2,000, and with Lord of the Rings it's usually about 800.
See,
750.
I prefer 800 to 1,000 point Lord of the Rings games, but in the UK people like doing 650 for some reason. 650 is the golden number.
Right. So down here it's 800.
I'd prefer to play 800s all day long. I mean, if you don't mind losing 50 points, or not spending 50 points, you can bring this, I guess, to a 650 point game.
I mean, 50 points, all right, fair enough. But, once you go 100, 200 points, now you start realizing just how much you're starting to lose by this.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't. I don't know how far I'd take it. Maybe 700 points if I'm feeling very confident with this Legendary Legion. But I probably wouldn't.
So these interesting. I think something that looks overlooked is the Blessing of Galadriel. Like they literally every model I believe gets what's his name? Elendil's ability, I believe.
Yeah, the Fortified Spirit. That's crazy. That's really strong. I mean, it's the combination of not being so easy to pin down with magic, and on top of having basically everyone be a banner for everyone. And
I mean, in some respects, you've got to be really, really happy that Gandalf is not in this list, because if he had that would because just how much will you can get out of that is really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, now you've got Frodo just bombing out blinding light whenever he wants, so that takes out.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the blinding light thing. Yeah. Live in Arendelle.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people like killing heroes with siege weapons. Now they're hitting on the 6, so even gun lines. Haradrim gun line, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, I'm about to fight someone in Tabletop CML later next week, and he's starting to bring siege weaponry, and I am not looking forward to this because I've heard of its ruthlessness.
Yeah, just don't let it hit a hero and don't fail your fate. Otherwise, they're dead. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really good. I think it's really, really strong and it's it's really strong in the like sense of an elite hero only list is, because it's got everything you need for a hero list. Because if I run any, like Thorin's Company, for example, if I run that, I need my banner rerolls, but I can just get ganked. And if one of them don't roll a 6, they're probably going to die because they've got about, 8 blokes on them who have now trapped them. It's, trying to grab objectives as well. It's going to be
amazing. I've noticed this is kind of an anti-terror, anti-spell cast. This is really good against Angmar, to be completely honest.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Angmar like stopping heroes, don't they? And this is one where it's going to be very hard.
Everything is fearless. Everything has fortify spirit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I went over it, but if Frodo dies... no. Okay. For some reason, I thought if Frodo died, you automatically get broken. That would have been crazy. I mean, that would have been a cool rule, but...
It makes sense, but, the alternative would be they would probably put, some kind of really good ability or upgrade one of the already abilities to an outstanding degree.
Yeah.
And then it would just be
Yeah. But the only reason I don't think I'd run this is because my boy Strider can't bring his lightsaber. His 4 always wounding on 4s.
He also doesn't get armor, which is...
Yeah. So what's he rocking? Defense 5?
Oh, it's lower than that, isn't it? It's 4.
Oh. I got something telling me. My inner nerd is telling me it's 5. I will double check though. Just because, why not? We want to be right. Go on. Oh, look at that. Defense 5.
Okay, it is defense 5.
Yeah,
I
with
was
armor.
wrong.
Yeah, it'll go up to 6 with armor. No, it's still quite high because a lot of people that don't have armor are defense 4, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. I only know that because I run the Return of the King Legendary Legion, and you can't buy armor.
Oh yes, the lore inaccurate version of the Great Company.
Yeah, but it does pretty good. But yeah, if you had to give it a rating out of 10, what would you give it?
Well, see, the Breaking Out of Fellowship is kind of weird because it has its upsides in that it is effective. It works.
Yeah.
I think even though it's high hero, they work with each other. They can synergize with each other. It's not a bunch of random heroes put in a bag. They do work with each other. We've got Merry and Pippin working with Boromir, and then you've got Frodo who can just support everybody. So I think in that sense, you can work with this. But the downside is that, if you're in America, it's a little harder to find the right spot to actually do it in, and you might have to set it up, that kind of thing. And so, in that sense, I think I'm going to give it a 7.
Yeah,
it's a good list, but
that's bang on what I was going to give it. A 7 out of 10. If you want to play a pure hero army and want to be at least quite competitive, this is the one for you, in my opinion, compared to the other version. I mean, the Rangers can do all right, but not compared to the next Legendary Legion, which has Rangers in it, but not proper Rangers.
Yeah, they aren't real Rangers. They're just discount Gondorian Rangers.
Yeah, they're wannabe Rangers. So yeah, moving on, we've got the Rangers of Ithilien. Hopefully I said that right.
Ithilien, I believe that is correct.
Yeah.
I don't think... Yeah.
I'm horrendous with... I read them in my head fine. Trying to say it, no. So, I'll briefly go over what this Legendary Legion's got and all the toys you get with it. And we have got 2 new characters in it, which, we'll cover. We'll go back to them in a sec. But, and ignore the trucks outside. So, army composition, we've got Faramir, Captain of Gondor with bow, 85 points, and you can stick him on a horse for 10. A Madril, he's 55. Damrod, 25. Anborn, 35, and then we got Mablung for 35 points. So they're the two new heroes that come with this supplement. We can have Frodo Baggins with Mithril Coat, Sting, and Elven Cloak at 85 points. Samwise with Elven Cloak for 45 points. Smeagol, 30. Smeagol, I love Smeagol. Captain and Minas Tirith, pretty much everything you can give them anyway. You know, horse, bow, lance, shield, 50 points. Scullieth Veterans, 8 points. Same things you can give them in the Armies of Middle-earth. And we got Warriors, Warriors of Minas Tirith. You can give them Banner, Warhorn, everything you can usually. And then Rangers of Gondor for 8 points, 1 point with a spear. An extra 1 point. So, the Rangers of Ithilien Force must always include Faramir, and he's the army leader, obviously. Samwise Gamgee can only be included if you bring Frodo as well. Smeagol may only be included in your fourth if you have both of the hobbits. Frodo and Sam and Smeagol may not lead warriors in this force. So, Faramir's Rangers. Here are the special rules. Rangers of Gondor in warbands led by Faramir, Midril, Damrod, Anborn, and Mablung do not count towards the force's bow limit. That is humongous. I always thought it was weird that Rangers... I don't know. I always wanted to do a Ranger force. This is it. You know, where you got all the bows and everything like that. Because it just made sense. Captured by Gondor. Frodo, Sam, Smeagol must either be deployed together as one warband, or they can be included as part of Faramir's warband, which is kind of cool. And then experienced trackers, Rangers of Gondor from this army list, gain Woodland Creature special rule. There we go. This is causing some dramas in my group with how strong it is. Especially at lower points.
I've heard some very interesting things about Rangers of Ithilien, and especially even in the American environment, there's a podcast that goes around, and they talk pretty... they have a lot of criticism for this kind of thing, because the thing is that you took a list that was already... or a Legendary Legion list that was already pretty good, and then you give it 2 new characters. Like, Rangers of Ithilien is to the point where, I kid you not, I made a Rangers of Ithilien Fantasy Fellowship, because they have so many characters that are named that you can make a Fantasy Fellowship out of them now.
Crazy. Yeah, I've had a lot of complaints about the Legendary Legion, about how it's A, not fun to play against, and B, way too strong, because people are just getting shot off the board, especially with the 2 new heroes. I'll quickly go over them. I mean, they're both 35 points, so they're both cheap as chips, okay? So we got Anborn. He is, everyone's movement 6, so I won't bother saying it after this. Fight 4, 3+ shoot value, strength 4, defense 5, which is not bad, 1 attack, 1 wound, and courage 4, 1 might, 1 will, 1 fate. Yeah, he's okay. He comes with heroic accuracy, he's got a sword, bow and armor, and woodland creature, of course, but he gets it with the Legendary Legion anyway. Lethal Aim is what his special ability is. Each time, he can spend a single point of might without reducing his own store, even if he has none remaining, to modify either a hit roll, in the way roll, or wound roll when shooting his bow. Anborn, Ranger of Ithilien, may be taken as part of the Minas Tirith army list. Cool. And then we got Mablung. He's, again, 35 points. Fight 4, shoot value 3+, strength 4, defense 5, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4, 1, 1, 1 for might, 1, and fate. Armor, sword, bow, heroic accuracy, woodland creature. But this is where he's different. Bird calls. Mablung and any Rangers of Gondor within 6 inches of him, including Faramir, Midril, Damrod, and Anborn, gain the Stalk Unseen special rule. Additionally, enemy models targeted by shooting attacks from Mablung or any Rangers of Gondor within 6 inches of him, including the characters I just said, do not benefit from the Stalk Unseen special rule for the duration of that shooting attack. And he can also be taken as part of a Minas Tirith army list. So you now have a single character that is 35 points that has a 6-inch aura to make you untargetable by anything over 6 inches away. That's magical powers. You can't be charged by cavalry if they're over 6 inches away. Nothing. and they can keep shooting at you. And if you are lucky enough to have Stalk Unseen, which I do use for Strider and what's his name, the Corsair Fleetmaster,
Dalgamir.
Yeah.
Dalamir. There's two of them, Dalgamir and Dalamir. And
Dalamir is the main dude. Dalgamir is the one from Gondor War, because he's got a G in his name. That's how I remember. But yeah, that's you just don't get it, so they just ignore it. So they can literally just snipe, Radagast out of the woods if they want. I think that's one of the things that people are getting scared about, because obviously they're just peppering you from a distance, and you can do nothing about it. Even if you brought something to shoot with, you can't shoot them. Yeah. I think
so. Untargetable. Is it possible? So does this work on siege weaponry?
Yeah.
Works on siege weaponry.
Works on absolutely everything. Everything that is over 6 inches.
Alright, well,
that would target you over 6 inches.
That's really good.
It is so strong. I like having it on a character, let alone having it on everyone within 6 inches of that character, including all the other awesome heroes. That's
well, it has to be lore accurate, of course.
Yeah, they've all got the Elven Cloak special ability because they're super good at hiding, and I don't mind it too much. Like, it's okay. I've fought this twice and I have beat it twice, but both times weren't. He's a good player. He just hasn't had much practice with this list, so maybe it was mistakes on his part, or maybe I got really lucky. But the main counter I had for this is being very, very aggressive with cavalry. So even if you've only got 6 riders, which I had, just being super aggressive and sprinting forward as fast as I can. Heroic marches, and whilst they have to deal with my sacrificial cavalry, who are definitely going to die, the rest of my army are moving up, because he can't afford for the cavalry to get too close. That's all I had. But yeah.
Well, it's a very interesting, because like from a thematic standpoint, Range of Ithilien is probably one of the best legendary legions. Like, the fact that you can have Frodo and Sam there, which I thought was so cool. You've got Rangers of Gondor and Ithilien, and then you've got Frodo and Sam caught in the middle of it, and I just thought, wow, that's really cool. I mean, do they usually take Frodo and Sam when they make these kinds of lists, or do they usually just put them to the side?
I think Frodo's really handy because he's obviously still got the ring.
Right.
But I haven't seen many people bring Smeagol. I think he brought Frodo and Sam for one of them, and just Frodo for the other. And Frodo's job was, if my hero did get close up to Faramir, for example, Frodo hopefully gets into the charge and charges my whatever Strider, for example, reducing him to fight 3 because of the ring special rules, yada yada yada.
Right. Well, I've been a pretty heavy critic of the whole ring special rule thing, because I mean, in Bilbo's case, it works. Like, he just puts on the ring and he's invisible. But for Frodo, it didn't really work like that.
No.
And
Yeah.
So there's that to consider.
It's him cutting about. Like, I've got this image of his head where Frodo just puts the ring on and he just turns into Solid Snake, just going around like.
Yeah. If you put the ring on, your opponent should be able to get like at least 2 ring wraiths on Fell Beast, like automatically, because that is how fast they will realize that Frodo's an Ithilien.
Imagine that. I love that. If that was a rule where you have to roll a dice for each turn you stay with the ring on a 1, a ring wraith on a Fell Beast turns up on a next turn.
That would be
2,
so
3,
cool.
4, 5, 6 auto.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's their the kind of apparent risk of putting the ring on,
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Even if they got rid of like a little bit of the 50-50 chance of your opponent controlling the ring thing, just to have like the chance of a ring wraith turn up, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is that like, the book tried so hard to illustrate that the ring was not an asset. It is, if anything, a huge liability.
Yeah,
And so like in the Hobbit, yeah, it's an asset. He just goes around, puts on the ring, runs around, does everything. But in the Lord of the Rings, it's not that simple. And for them to be like, haha, magic of invisibility ring, solid snake, buy mission.
yeah.
I never liked that.
Yeah, I mean, Sauron's much more powerful in the Lord of the Rings than he is. He's not yet awoken, apparently, in the Hobbit. So I get it. Yeah, I don't like. Don't get me wrong. I use the ring in my lists. I've got Gollum in my Goblin Town list. I've used Frodo in my Misty Mountain / Fellowship list because it does work sometimes. But yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, out of 10. What do you think?
I think we all know what the number is.
Yeah.
It has 2 digits.
Yeah, it's definitely a solid 9
Well,
or 10.
Actually, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10, just on the fact that it's not fun, really. Like, okay, this is kind of like, in terms of its effectiveness, yeah, 10 out of 10. But in terms of its like enjoyability as a list, everything like that, I think, well, I'll bump it up to about an 8. Up all the way up to an 8. I'd say it's an 8 out of 10. 2 points lost for, it not dominating tournaments and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I was going to give it a 9. I never give out a 10. The only thing I give out a 10 to is Far Harad, and that's just because I think they're cool. But yeah, happy days. If you play this, if you want to shoot your opponent to death and wind them up and make them angry, play this army. It's good for that. Moving on, we've got our first evil legendary legion, and it is Alerts' Scouts. Well, this is one of the first ones that kind of got not like teased when they where they announced this book was coming out, because I remember seeing like Lurtz's shield ability and stuff like that. But quickly going over it, army composition. Obviously, you got Lurtz with a shield, 90 points. Uglug for 65, and Murherd, I can't say that, Murherd for 60 points. Uruk-hai Scout Captain, 55, and he can have everything he can usually take. Uruk-hai Drummer for 35, Uruk-hai Scout for 8, with a banner, Uruk-hai Bow, and shield. Lutz must always be the army leader. That's literally the only additional rule. And then we got the special rules. Relentless March. If your army includes a Mirhir, then Uruk-hai Scouts in your force may be upgraded to his Marauders, rather than just being the ones in his warband. This upgrade is free rather than costing 1 point per model, which is insane. Additionally, Alert, Uglug, and Uruk-hai Scout Captains and Uruk-hai Drummers increase their move value to 8. Additionally, friendly models gain Woodland Keeper special rule. A worthy foe. Lurtz may declare a heroic challenge against any hero model regardless of heroic tier. Additionally, if Lurtz declares a heroic challenge and the targeted hero declines, he regains his might spent. And shield throw. Once per game, he can choose to throw his shield. It counts as a throwing weapon at strength 4, and he can do it at any man-size or smaller model. You can do it at anyone. Any man-size or smaller model is automatically not prone. Okay. Once he's thrown a shield, he no longer carries it and cannot use it for the remainder of the battle. Yeah, note that even though he no longer has a shield, Alert's defense will not be reduced. Wow. I like that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, no, the main thing that sticks out to me for this is having all my Uruk-hai Scouts be movement 8 with Woodland Creature.
The main thing that sticks out for me is the fact that Lurtz can throw his shield.
I mean, that's quite cool. I mean, he does it like that one. Yeah, he throws at Aragorn, pins him to a tree. That's amazing. They just added that for fun. I mean,
I'm kind of disappointed. Like, they'll give Lurtz a shield throw, but they won't give Aragorn an insta kill ability that lets him chop people's heads off.
yeah. See, maybe he could just have an insta-kill ability versus Lurtz only. If he rolls a 6 to wound, no matter fate or anything like that, he just cuts Lurtz's head off.
I mean, they do have like, oh, man, just on Lurtz. That like, well, the only problem is that Lurtz Disgust is good,
Yeah.
but it's not one of like the super good lists, like Range of Athelion, and because of that, I think that giving such a specific ability to a very, very, very good hero in the game, one of the better heroes in the game already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen one person do quite well with these, and it's not like the fighting factor or anything like that. It's literally because of the movement 8 of all his Urukais with a drummer. Yeah, they're going faster than cavalry at that point with the drum. And they're just everywhere. He's got all the objectives. He's got to be. If you got to grab the relic that's in the center of the board and dig it up, he can be there way before you can. That's the main thing I like about this. But on the flip side,
what is the speed of a horse?
10.
Okay, so they cannot run as fast as a horse.
With the war drum, so it'll add 3 to the 8, so it goes to 11. So
now they're running faster than a horse.
It's insane. Yeah, can you imagine that?
Well, I believe we like covered the idea of it. Oh, and then Heroic March. So now they're going about as fast as a car. So
yeah, that does stack as well, which is pretty crazy. Which is an extra 6 inches, so they're going. Yeah, what's that? 14. If my maths is good, yeah, it is. I can maths. 14 inches. So you can literally go wherever you want pretty much instantly. The only downside to this, though, in my opinion, is the two iconic things of an Isengard force, in my opinion, is heavy armor and crossbows. Oh, 3. And pikes. Pikes. Obviously. You cannot bring any of these because you can just only bring, like, scouts, obviously, as the name suggests. And they're rocking quite a low defense. What are they? 4 or 5? I have no idea. I don't play scouts like as myself. I will find out. But yeah, what do you think of the lack of crossbows in a Isengard force?
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, whenever I see people who play Rohan and people who play Isengard, I don't know. Like, as somebody who always sees the bigger picture of things, like, I don't know. It just feels like, Isengard is a little weird to me. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Isengard. With all the crossbows and trolls and siege weaponry and berserkers and scouts and soldiers for, like, a ring with a tower in the center of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think that they easily could have merged warriors and scouts somehow. Like, 1 point for heavy armor instead of normal armor or something like that.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, they're defense 4. So they're going to get chewed up by shooting.
But in terms of, like, of non-thematic, in terms of, like, rules, I think that this was really their attempt to create an evil woodland creature army. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. It's not too... Well, it's quite dissimilar to the Rangers one, but I get what you mean. This is their kind of, like, scout force. They're sneaky, but we're not sneaky.
Yeah, I kind of wish that they went a different route with evil woodland creature, because there were a lot of places they could do evil woodland creature, and it just didn't feel like this kind of scouting force. Yes, they went into Amonhen, but that was like 1 day of their 1 week lifetime.
Yeah. I mean, I like it that they've got it, but
yeah,
a lot of events I've gone to, they're all themed boards. If you go into a Solid event, like from Solid I mean like one where I have to pay more than a $5 to get in, £5. So what, like $8 or something for you guys?
7, something like that. Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, if you're paying more than that, then you usually have theme boards. So you've got like the Moria board, the Osculiath board. yada yada yada. There's usually only like one or two with that woodland, so you'd have to wait. Yeah, you need a very specific board to like utilize a woodland creature. But if you got the Stalk Unseen special thing, you can literally use it wherever. You hide behind a wall. Guess what? You can't shoot me now. Ugh, scary. I do like it, but out of 10, I would give it 6. Yeah, the movie.
I mean, I've been doing a lot of 7s recently, but I'm gonna give this one a 7.
Yeah,
I'm a little more optimistic about this list. I think that it has potential. I think that. Anyway, what?
Sorry, I think I just underestimate it.
Yeah,
But
I mean, like, nothing. Like, take a Rangers of Athelion, right? They've got tons of units that you will not even include with with Lurtz's Scout. You have to have every single one of these. Maybe no, you need the Uruk-hai Drummer. You're gonna be using every single one of these multiple times.
Yeah.
And there's not much like flexibility with it, and I think no, I'm going back down to a 6. Isn't much, not enough flexibility.
No, that's fair.
No, just as you were saying, no crossbows, but it makes sense. But at the same time, I don't know, something about it just feels mixed to me.
Yeah. Oh, the only thing we haven't spoken about is what do you think of the heroic challenge? I can challenge anyone with Lurtz. I've never found heroic challenge to be an amazing.
It's such a shame. Heroic challenge, like, it's probably the most themey thing you could ever do in a competitive game, and it's just awful. Like back in 40K, there was always a challenge to a duel. I remember that being a huge thing in 7th edition.
Yeah, that was.
And like when it turned to 8th, it's like I challenge him to a duel, and he's like, "Wait, what? Excuse me?" And I'm like, "What happened?"
I've always liked it in games, like you said, 40K fantasy as well, where you just challenge, you get your 2 leaders or whatever to challenge each other, and they literally have a one-on-one combat. Best man wins. I love that, and the fact they've got the mechanic in Lord of the Rings, but it's just
like, I don't know. Because the thing is that the one thing that you can do is you can kind of use the hero challenge thing to just, gut heroes if they don't accept your challenge. Because the fact that, like, there's some of us that heavily rely on heroic actions.
The only thing.
So for them, but there's still ways to work around it, and it doesn't really matter. Heroic challenge is not great.
The only thing I could see making this competitive for the heroic challenge is if Lurtz goes around and challenges captains. So their might is wasted because they're probably going to decline, and if they don't decline, Lurtz will cut their head off, most likely.
Yeah, the heroic march thing for the captain is pretty useful, and for them to lose the ability to do that, especially early game.
Yeah.
And for this to be such a fast force, I think there's definitely a way to do it. You can run around as fast as a horse, speeding around, challenging every captain to a duel and killing them one by one, or just if they're neutralized, then you just go to the next captain. And, because they can't outrun you. They cannot outrun you by any means.
I mean, you've got a bit of shooting, which is quite nice. You can have Uruk-hai bows, but, what are they, like 18-inch, strength 3? Are they strength 3? Something's telling me they're strength 3, because they're Uruk-hai. I mean, it's not Rangers. I think that's all it is. I'm putting this next to the Rangers list and our next list, which we're going to be talking about, and it seems lackluster compared to the 2.
Oh god, our next list.
Here we go. The big boy. The one that I found has caused the most amount of ripples in the community around me. I don't know about yourself, but Depths of Moria.
This was an outrage in America.
It's crazy. I'll go over the army composition and everything you get for running this, because the Balrog list with a ton of goblins and a goblin drum was a terrible list before, so they needed this. We've got the Balrog for 350 points. You have to bring him because he has to be the army leader, and all the stuff comes off the Balrog pretty much. Moria Goblin Captain, 35 points, and he can have whatever like the normal upgrades. Moria Goblin Shaman for 45 points. Black Shield Captain, 45. Black Shield Shaman, 50. Goblin Drum for 70 points. Oh, 75, sorry. Moria Goblin Warrior, all the normal stuff for 4 points. Moria Black Shield for 8 points. Moria Black Shield Drummers for 75 points. Why wouldn't you bring the Black Shields Drummers? Prowlers, they're amazing. Prowlers are so good. And you can bring a Cave Troll for 75 points. Yeah. Special rules. Shadow. Shooting attacks that target the Balrog will only ever hit on a 5 or more. So that lovely double tap with the siege weapons doesn't work anymore. Well, it still works, but it's harder. And then we've got Dominion of the Balrog. Friendly goblin models within 6 inches gain a +1 bonus to their fight value. Additionally, this army will never be considered broken as long as the Balrog has 6 or more wounds remaining. Should the Balrog have 5 or fewer wounds remaining, the army will break as normal. If he is slain, immediately broken. And the other special rules is called Earned Flame. Once per game at the start of the shooting phase, the Balrog may select a single enemy model within 3 inches and roll a d6. On a 2+, that model is immediately set ablaze. This is an active ability. After the Balrog has used this ability, it no longer benefits from the Shadow ability provided by the Legendary Legion. And then the biggest one, which I think is ridiculous, Drums in the Deep. The effects of the Moria Goblin or Moria Black Shield Drum is increased from 18 to battlefield wide. Additionally, as long as one of the drummers are alive, the drum will count as a banner for victory points. That's crazy. So, yeah.
Well, the thing is that the depth of Moria has created something that should never have existed. The Balrog Ranger, the Balrog Rogue, the Balrog Stealth Op.
Yeah, he's okay. Originally, if I love Middle-earth strategy battle game, obviously, which is why the channel exists. But the only model I ever thought was he's a bit bent is the Balrog. I always thought he's a little bit too cheap for what he can do because he's fight 10 and strength 9, defense 9, 4 attacks, 3 heroic combats. He's got his lash. He's 10 wounds. He's just so tough to take down. And he's 350 points. He can take on Sauron in a fight. Sure, Sauron gets back up, but he can still take Sauron. He can take the Necromancer because he's resistant to magic as well. And he's got 10 will. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So the usual, just transfix him. Doesn't work. Well, it can do, but it's hard. He just seemed to have all the toys. Unless the only counter was an elven-made weapon striking up to fight 10, and even then you might lose. But the thing is, if the Balrog loses a duel in that situation, you're probably not going to kill the Balrog. But if you lose once with that elven weapon roll-off, good or evil, who gets to win the fight, if you lose, you're probably going down. Yeah.
Well, something to consider here is Sauron is 400 points. The Balrog is 350. I think that they should have boosted the Balrog up to 380. Now, I don't think he should have been more expensive than Sauron. But something to consider here is that the Balrog... I used to make the joke that Balrog was infantry in the Second Age. But Balrogs were actually about as strong as Sauron. They were, Morgoth's lieutenants. They could definitely put up a fight with Sauron. They could definitely beat Sauron. And so, I don't think they are stronger than Sauron because, the books state, Sauron is the strongest of them all. But still, it makes complete sense that a Balrog could defeat Sauron. Makes a lot,
Yeah, it's just, More on a points, like,
Right.
point of view, if that makes sense. So if I get the, where is it? Old Bally. So Sauron's fight 9 compared to his fight 10. You know, Sauron is strength 8 compared to the Balrog's strength 9. He's defense 10, whilst the Balrog's only defense 9. Same amount of attacks. He's got 5 wounds, but he gets to come back to life, whilst the Balrog has got 10 wounds. Both courage 7. But the Sauron, the Dark Lord himself, has got might. 6 will when he gets the 3 point. And, yeah, ignore fate.
He also has spells.
And
more
he can cast
than...
magic.
and some of the spells are pretty... They definitely change the tide. How many attacks does the Balrog have? I'm just looking at the Sauron profile right
4.
now. 4, yeah, okay. Sauron has 4, you know. Well, I don't know. Yeah, like the Balrog definitely. I think that they should have. I think that it's less of making him more points and more of nerfing him. Put him down to fight 9.
Yeah.
Maybe even lower. Then, you know, I don't think the strength or defense need to be lowered or anything. It's just, you know, just lower his fight, really.
This is my inner disappointment for Sauron, who I think is an awesome character in the books, being fight 9. He should be fight 10. Come on, he's the dark. Yep. He's the big boy. But yeah, other than that, I'll move on from my dramas with the Balrog. It's all the extra stuff you get. So like army-wide banner is really strong, and it counts as a banner for victory points now. Yeah.
Like the Balrog is just so big and strong and centerpiece that like any of the other, you know, Moria stuff that you get is just pales in comparison. Like, I don't know, it just seems like everything's like, it's not like Elendil and then the Númenóreans. It's like it's like doubling that. It's like, you know, the Balrog is so large. He didn't just take up points and then you have a little bit of points left to, you know, throw in some goblins and stuff. You know, he'll just take the board. And again, you know, this differentiates from Warhammer, where it's like, you know, take Magnus. If you put him in the wrong place, you get instantly deleted.
Yeah.
Even though he's like the biggest maul in your army.
Yeah.
The Balrog doesn't work like that. And unlike Magnus, he can sneak. He can stealth. He can get where he needs to be, and you can't shoot him.
Yeah. I mean, but on the flip side, it is all eggs in one basket. If I kill the Balrog, which I have done in all my games I've gone against them, the army breaks automatically, and they're not fearless, and they run away. So, there is that.
Yeah, actually, they did put a legendary legion weakness in there, and I love when they put these little weaknesses in here, because it's like, you know, you are getting a lot of stuff. You know, this is not really in any way a weakness for more of you. This everything you normally would take. The one thing you can't get was Dwellers of the Dark, and if you know you're on our Discord, you heard us talk a little bit about Dwellers of the Dark. I think they're really cool. You can't take them in this list.
Oh yeah,
but you know,
Bat Swarms, they're massive as well.
Yep. Yeah, you can't take any of the monsters really, except the cave troll. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
you know, no dragons, drakes, you know, bats, octopi.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, my rating out of 10 for this is a solid 9. If you bring it to it is easily, like, not easily. You can beat it. Don't get me wrong, but it's really.
I'll give it a 9. I'll give it a 9.
I think it's really good for newer players as well. You've got something awesome in the middle of the board that kills everything, and you've got a ton of chaff that grabs objectives.
This isn't a hard list in that, you know, it's not like, you know, Gullivar, where it's like if you give it to an experienced player, he's like, what the heck do I do with this? You know, a new player will look at the Balrog list and is like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing with this.
Yeah. My beat stick's going to go beat stuff and not die. But yeah, so moving on, we've got the Black Riders. Now, this is the one I was looking forward to the most, and I was somewhat disappointed, but happy at the same time. Going over it quick, we've got the armor composition. Very simple. Witch King of Angmar on horse. 80 points to 160 points because you pay for Might, Will and Fate. And the Morgul Blade for 5 points if you want it. Ringwraith on horse. 65 to 120 points per dude. And they're on horse. And you're paying for Might, Will and Fate as you want. That's why it's the 65 to 120. The Black Riders must always include the Witch King of Angmar, obviously, and he's the leader. The Witch King of Angmar counts as a hero of legend for this legendary legion, which is good because you get the free Standfast pass, which is actually really handy. And obviously you can only have a maximum of 9 models in this legendary legion because there are only 9 Ringwraiths. Terror in the Night. A model in range of between 4 and 6 models from this force with a Harbinger of Evil special rule suffer an additional -1 to their courage value. So it'll be -2 if they're within 4 and 6 models. If a model is in range of 7 to 9 of the models, they suffer an additional -2. So it'll be a -3 to their courage if they're within 7, at least 7 of these guys. That's scary. That's really, really scary. Screech of the Nazgul, fantastic. I love this. I love the Terror in the Night as well. Each Ringwraith can, once per game, cast a channeled version of Transfixed without declaring a heroic channeling. The magical power is automatically cast, counting as rolling as 6, and no will points are expended. The target model can resist as normal. Make note which Ringwraith have cast it, obviously. And as I said, it's only once per game. Did I say it? Yeah, I did. That's fantastic. I love that. The Will of Sauron. Friendly Ringwraith models do not lose a will point for being in combat as per the Will of Evil special rule. That's fantastic. You can be more aggressive with your Ringwraiths now. Woo! If you want. And Hunter the Ringbearer. At the start of the fight phase, before other heroic actions are declared, if it would be possible for a friendly Ringwraith model to charge an enemy model with the one ring following a successful heroic combat, the Ringwraith model may declare a heroic combat without spending might. Only one Ringwraith can declare this free heroic combat per turn. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And it goes through how you do it. You basically just have to charge the Ringbearer. If you can't charge it, the heroic combat's failed. Happy days. So what I love about that is I love Terror in the Night, I love Screech of the Nazgul, and I love Will of Sauron. I can do without the other one. But
well,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
Well, it just seems like the Black Raiders has a big problem to me. And it actually suffers from the opposite of the problem with the Fellowship. Instead of costing 2 little points to actually see itself, and it's this is the problem in which the Black Riders can't take enough Ringwraiths to be the truly dedicated Ringwraith force it needs to be, without it being
Yeah, I get what you mean. It'll be quite pricey to try and run all 9, squeezing them in, because minimum being 65 points each and 80 for the Witch King, and that's leaving them all with no fate, no might on the standard Ringwraiths, and barely any will. It's not gonna work. So you'll be probably shaving off 2 Ringwraiths just to catch everyone else up. And the biggest thing I hate about this is I know he didn't wear the crown in the film, but you can't bring the crown with the Witch King. So he's rocking it with 1.
Wait, what?
You can't bring the crown. Nope.
You can. You can bring the crown.
Nope.
Oh, Morgul Blade. Okay, thank goodness.
Yeah.
You cannot bring the crown. Okay, see, that's the one thing. It's like, okay, he could take the crown. Now, hey.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I get it. That really eliminates some of its competitive value. I know the crown is very, valued among competitive players, but nonetheless, it makes sense. This is a legendary legion after all.
Yeah. I know they're going off the scenes in the films and stuff like that, but Yeah, I don't know. It just hurt me a little bit. Like when I watched the film, because I'm just imagining we're going with the film here, because a lot of these seem to be going off the film, judging by Aragorn and stuff like that, and the other legendary legions. Um, at what point did you see the goblins rally to the Balrog, become immune to courage, and plus get better at fighting? That's that. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was something that was actually commented on by some of the people on podcasts and that kind of thing. Like basically, this should hurt the goblins, not help them.
They're terrified of the Balrog. I mean, maybe
I
it's
know.
that whole boss is here, so let's do good. But I've like, they're not an organized army where they all look up to the Balrog and go, "What do you want to do, boss?" Oh yeah, we're gonna go kill those Minas Tirith guys. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, they
Roger that.
were technically, I believe they were actually on opposite sides. Literally, like they did not like each other. But of course, the Balrog was so powerful and strong
I mean,
that no goblin would dare enter an 80-foot radius of the Balrog.
I know the goblins are like basically worshiping. He's a god to them basically. But I
Probably, but
just
that doesn't mean that you don't fear God.
yeah, yeah, true. Just going off the film purely, they did not all rally to the Balrog and get
Right.
better at fighting. And I mean, I know the Balrog does his awesome like flame thing when Gandalf is stood on the bridge, but he definitely didn't set Gandalf ablaze.
Well, he rolled a 1, obviously.
Yeah, obviously he rolled a 1 in that one situation where they're basing that special ability that he definitely does not need. Anyway, back to the Black Riders. Yeah. So I mean, I would have liked to have the crown. I know. You could just say he's always wearing the crown technically because he's the king. He's the Witch King of Angmar, but
Well, they don't know that he's in disguise. Remember, he's a king in disguise.
yeah, exactly. But I do like the other special rules we get. But is it competitive? In my opinion, no, not. I mean, it's better.
I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10, and I'll provide another reason why.
Yeah.
When they don't provide the models
Oh god.
for the very legendary legion they introduced.
That upset me quite a bit because we got a load of stuff for like we literally just got one for a load of Rohan models.
It was supposed to come in line with like what, Rohan at War?
Yeah, so maybe we'll get it one day. But at the moment, I'm running them as because I've got all 9 named ring wraiths. So I run them as the 9 named ring wraiths, so I can keep track. They're still unnamed ring wraiths, but so far TOs have been absolutely fine with it because my excuse is I need to keep track of where the will's been spent, who's used their screech, things like that. So it's easier when I can write down Kamul has used his screech. Obviously he's not Kamul, he's unnamed ring wraith number 6, but to me he's Kamul. It's easier to keep track, and my opponent can keep track as well.
Right. And for that reason, I think that it's I like it. It's very I don't know, narrative, I suppose.
True, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 because Wraith is in my name, so I love Wraiths. Otherwise, it'd be a 5. I love Wraiths. Don't get me wrong. Wraiths are a must-have in all my lists. A purely Wraith army, I've tried it. It doesn't work. If you know anyone who has, do let me know in the comment section. But now we got our last legendary legion.
This is my favorite by far.
This is a lot of people's favorites, including me. Yeah, I love it. Cirith Ungol. Okay, so what do we get with this army composition? We got Shagrat, 100 points. Shield of Cirith Ungol for 10 points. Best shield in the game, without a doubt. Heavy armor for 5 points. Gorbag, 55 shield. We got Shelob, 90 points. And then we got the Mordor Uruk-hai Captain, 55 points, all the normal stuff. Orc Shaman for 50. Orc Captain for 40, all the normal stuff. Orc Warriors, 5 points each, all the normal stuff. And then Mordor Uruk-hai, 8 points, all the normal upgrades you can give them. Cirith Ungol must always include Shagrat and Gorbag. And, yeah. Always include Shagrat. captain of Cirith Ungol, and Gorbag, orc captain. Yeah. Shagrat is always the army leader. Only orc hero models may lead orc warriors, and only Urukais can lead Urukais. Animosity. Friendly orcs gain a bonus of +1 to wound in a fight phase if they're involved in the same fight as a friendly Urukai model. Friendly Urukai models also get this bonus if they're involved in the same fight as an orc model. Rivals for power. Keep track of how many models Gorbad and Shagrat have each killed. If at any point one of them has fewer kills than the other, the model may re-roll a single d6 when making dual rolls, so they get a free banner. Nice. She hungers for sweeter meats. Shelob adds 1 to her attack characteristic when involved with a fight with a man, elf, dwarf, or hobbit model. Now that caused some stir around here as well. She is always hungry. At the start of the move phase, so long as she is not engaged in a fight, Shelob can choose to kill and remove a friendly single model within 1 inch of her from the board. When she does so, Shelob can reroll any number of dice when making dual rolls. We have got Super Shelob. If you do not bring Shelob in this army, you're doing it wrong. That's my opinion.
The reason that I really like Cirith Ungol is because, like, this is the kind of weird off-lore thing that people like. You know what isn't? The weird Balrog thing that, like, involves, you know, all of your fearless Moria, you know, kind of stuff. Like, this is the kind of, like, thing that, like, oh, they get Shelob. Hey, I kind of get it. It makes sense. I'll ride the wave. I like it.
Yeah, why not? I totally remember her joining the armies to march upon the men and elves. I love it. I do love it. I love the fact that they've made Shelob good, in my opinion. They really have.
Yeah. I just really like this. I think Shelob was pretty good before this list, but then, you know, they made her better. This is basically everything that the like, you know, the Balrog thing. Like, I don't know, it's a weird mirror to it in some ways. You know, it revolves around a big monster. It doesn't really follow any kind of lore in any way. But this one works where Depths of Moria doesn't.
Yeah. See, I mean, I love the fact this is in here. I do, with the +1 to wound for Urukai and orcs if they're in the same fight. That is so strong. That kills a Balrog, just so you know. +1 to wound shreds a Balrog when you trap him. But yeah, all this coming off just a fight scene. I mean, I know it was crucial, that fight between the Urukai and the orcs, for Sam to make his way through Mordor and stuff like that, and Frodo and all that good stuff. But like you said, lore-wise, why have they brought that to the battlefield?
I think I actually know why.
Yeah,
okay, this is like the weirdest, cheapest way of describing it ever. Yeah. If Cirith Ungol were ever under attack, it's theoretically possible that Shelob may have been around. But I like that Shelob will, I believe, eat other orcs. It makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Every turn, sacrifice an orc to the almighty Shelob, and she becomes a super... Well, she gets a banner.
Yeah.
Any number of dice, so she gets a super banner reroll.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just think it like, if they didn't have Shelob in it, I would be disappointed. Like, it's Cirith Ungol. It's named after Ungoliant. Yeah. It's all about spiders, you know.
Oh, imagine if you could bring spiders as well. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I mean, not lore, but it's just a cool army.
That would be weird, but that would be really cool. I think it makes a degree because I don't know if they couldn't do that, but like in other timelines, Shelob did have spider children.
Yeah,
but they're since gone.
Yeah, I'm very happy with this Legion because I think it's really competitive. Because once you get the +1 to wound, you're killing most things. And if I put it this way, you can have a Mordor Uruk-hai captain, yeah, or a Mordor Uruk-hai, or Orc warrior, whatever. Give them a two-handed weapon and stick them in a combat with someone of the opposite like spectrum, so an Orc in with an Uruk-hai. They're now +2 to wound. That's absolutely nuts. Yeah, if they're going up, say, like needing 6s by 6s to wound someone, they're now needing 4s by 4s. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, I absolutely love it. And this kind of like Gimli Legolas thing, going for Shagrat and Gorbag is, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm gonna rate this an 8. I'll give it an 8 out of 10, without a doubt.
This is it. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. I kid you not. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Is that cool to me?
You've got Shelob. She is an absolute beast anyway, and she's even better.
And also, like, I don't know, like something about the Uruk-hai, the Mordor Uruk-hai just look cool as a model aesthetic, and then to have a giant spider with them,
Yeah. Every army needs a centerpiece, and Shelob is yours in this one. I love it. Yeah.
I think the best thing about it is that, there's things going on at once. It's not you slap on a Balrog and then there's like, oh, here's some goblins around it. You've got fighting, orcs amongst each other.
Yeah.
You've got Shelob, you've got strong orcs and weak orcs, and a bunch of options. Like, they get everything. So I guess that's kind of the conclusion of it all.
Happy days. Well, that is. I'll wrap it up here because we've overshot a little bit from what I had in mind. But no, thank you for joining me to chat about this amazing supplement, and thank you for everyone who listened. If you like the video, do consider liking, and if you're feeling especially saintly today, do consider subscribing. But even if you don't do either of those things, I still hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Hello again. If you're interested in supporting my channel and myself to giving you bigger and better content such as competitive battle reports in the future, then do consider joining up to my Patreon. The link is down in the description below, and you will be mentioned on my videos at the end. Some of you may get a sexy t-shirt. Thank you ever so much, and goodbye.